Good evening! Hello! Bonsoir! Guten Abend! Go Aften! I am Chris Petersen from Ghost Galaxy, and I am really, really happy to be here. This is my Facebook business card. We are here at KeyForge Celebration 2023, also known as KeyForge Celebration or KFC 2. Thank you for being here tonight. Today we celebrate the first day of the first ever KeyForge World Championship. Yes! Woo! We're here to see cool previews of things that are happening in the future. I'll talk about some tonight. We're here to have fun activities, although some of them are also unnerving. I know for people here that are for the World Championship, there were some anxious moments today, but we really appreciate you coming all this way to compete. Of course, mostly important to us is that you're all here because we love you and we hope that everyone gathers under one roof at least once a year to celebrate the thing we all can gather about, KeyForge. We're so honored to have you here. There are so many of you that have come from so far away. Very few of you are actually local. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Are very local. Hello? Hello. It's going in and out. There are many that are come from all over the United States, from Canada, from Europe, from Asia. Thank you for coming all this way. We're happy to have you here in our home. And it's so much easier for us to do a great event here in little old Roseville, Minnesota. Hello? Their geistoids are getting into my microphone. Okay, so let's talk about some KeyForge stuff. There's one sort of thing that I think you guys need to know, and I'm not asking for sympathy here. What I'm about to say is a little controversial, but I'm happy to defend it to whomever wants to argue with me on this. And that is, I've published hundreds, thousands of games, and KeyForge is not only the best, but it's also by far the hardest game to publish in the planet. There is no game that quite as much goes into as KeyForge. Okay, so we are so proud of what has been achieved with KeyForge, and I want to take you through some of those elements of what has happened in the last year. Does anybody know what's going on with this? Okay. Yeah, Josh. Woo! All right. No geistoids in this one. Sweet. So I want to talk a little bit about the stuff that's happened in this year since I last stood on this stage and talked to many of you fine players. It's been a year in the crucible, a year of doing what we love the most, working on the hardest game in the world, KeyForge. So let's go through a number of different steps. What's happened? We've had game development. Since last summer, we all suddenly got this game served to us. We've said we've got to make this. We've got to live up to the legacy of this game. We've got to keep designing a great game. So we had to recover and gather all of the FFG assets. Now they had worked hard on a couple of sets, but things were kind of in a shambles, so we had to gather all the notes, gather all the art, gather everything to put it together. We had to build a development team, and that's happened. We've been really happy with the crowd of people here. For example, Luke Olson in the back. You want to wave to everybody? So, Luke was here as a player last year at this very event, and he has since joined the development team and is the lead developer on KeyForge. Luke is a particularly great find for us because he's also very, very savvy on the technical side, which is crucial in this game. So we also incubated playtesting processes and resources for that. We embraced KeyForge Adventures as a product type, try to wrap our head around how are we going to keep making those, and are those going to continue to be fun and innovative. We built a future product roadmap because, as we know, when you want to play a game like KeyForge, you want things to be planned out, you want new sets to come out, you want us to be concerned about what should this game look like in the future. So we had to get way ahead of ourselves, and we had to execute that development. And so we did. So lots of stuff happening in the game development world. And one of the things that we get asked a lot is like, what are you planning on doing in terms of a release cadence? How often is a KeyForge set going to come out? And so I'm happy to tell you that we're going to put out a KeyForge set twice a year. In the fall, in the spring, in the fall, 2 sets a year. Okay? We're, of course, extremely excited that we got Winds of Exchange out. And I think I need to tell you that when we were here last year, we had such an enormous road ahead of us in terms of software to build, teams to build, processes to invent, processes to reinvent. And so the amount of construction work that we did to get Winds of Exchange out have now cleared the road, although we all know that the road sometimes is curvy. But it's definitely cleared most of the obstacles for us to really get that long-term process development going. And so we're going to be putting out next year, of course, Grim Reminders and Ember Skies. So manufacturing of KeyForge is not a simple matter. Normally when you have a game, you provide the factory with a file, and the factory will then produce 5,000, 3,000, 10,000 copies of that file. Of course, with KeyForge, that's not true. So you need different kind of machinery to handle this, because we need to make every single deck a unique printing, okay? So digital printing is required. For us then to restart it, and to restart it in a way that we thought should be done here in the US, where we could control the product and where we could do fun things, so we can rapidly develop fun things for you. We had to understand what was involved with that, source new materials, expand the factory. Something as simple as printing is not necessarily limited to, or something as complicated as digital printing, KeyForge. You also have to understand that there are things we have to do, like how are files received, where are they stored, how are they ripped. When you have a big, when you have your printer at home and you're printing one page, there'll be a couple of seconds in between where the printer is really ripping your file and converting it into an image that can be printed. Well, when you're doing that with tens of thousands of decks, all suddenly it becomes a real scalability issue, and that's something we had to solve, and we did get solved. We had to develop processes for delivery and storage of custom decks and playmats. So one thing we pride ourselves on is to be able to make custom decks that you may have gotten in here if you participated in our crowdfunding campaign. Now those aren't necessarily easy to do, but so we had to find processes how to make those, and also of course how to put them together to get to everybody. That was quite an effort. We did manage though to produce Winds of Exchange in 10 different languages that were produced in a 3-month period. And did everybody get their stuff? Everybody get? Oh God. I'll get the customer service out for you if you didn't get it yet. I'm just going to break this for a second here. So in terms of the manufacturing, just to show you what we're doing and how far along we've gotten, we created this little video that we're going to show to everybody, okay? So unfortunately, I know that by now you'll have had enough of me. Unfortunately, you're going to get a little more of me now. Hi everybody, this is Chris Petersen, CEO of Ghost Galaxy. We are here in the Ghost Galaxy offices, and today I thought it would be a great time to take you through a tour of KeyForge and everything that's going on. Last year I took you through a tour of the very beginning stages where we were running tests in our factory. Much has happened since. But let's start in the actual offices where the real magic begins with a click of a button. Follow me and I'll show you something cool. Lucas is one of our Forgefire operators. And Lucas right now is actually working in Forgefire. Surprise! And he's going to render a KeyForge deck for you. So, it's been done. Button has been hit. KeyForge deck is rendering, amalgamating all that juicy KeyForge stuff, putting together a deck. So, in order to see how a deck is made, let's go to someplace much more fun and rowdy. The factory. Poof! We've arrived at the factory. So, as you know, KeyForge is made by our ArtiForge factory. We're going to go and see what they're doing. Follow me. Come on. So this machine here, big HP Visual press is what actually creates the cards. The cards are then put over on this puppy here, which actually coats the cards and make them smooth and nice to play with. Once they've been printed, we put them on obviously big pallets of paper, and they get rolled out to finishing. All right, so next step in the KeyForge process is that we got to cut all those sheets printed next door. So we use this big cutter to do that. Let me show you all about that. Cutting. What's next? Let's see. This is a cello wrapper. This is what will take the actual bundle of cards. I'll show you a card bundle. This, for example, would be a bundle of cards here. One deck will be put into this machine. Out the other end comes a nice, beautiful, gorgeous, shiny deck. All right, so here it is. The cello wrapped deck. You know what's also really cool is that every KeyForge deck has a little barcode. We have a system here that actually scans every single deck to make sure that no two same deck escape the factory. All right, this next machine is called a flow wrapper. It literally flows wrap around deck cards. So I have these beautiful cards right here. I'm going to put them into these little slots. And that's making some decks. Grim reminders. It is happening. It is really happening. This is actually final, finished Grim Reminders product getting ready for market. Last year when I showed you the tour here, we were about good 5 or 6 months away from true manufacturing. We were running tests, we were running machines, we're getting everything up and running. Now, we are rolling, baby. This is KeyForge. These hot roll displays are ready for wrapping. Once they're wrapped, it's time for the market. And that pretty much completes our little journey of a KeyForge deck for today. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we'll see you at a KeyForge table soon. Have fun. See you in the Crucible. All right. More of me now. Of course, this is something we developed for all of the very kind and patient people that helped back the recent campaign for Grim Reminders. And as you can see, whereas last year we had this mountain to overcome, now the process has been going, we're advancing into the future, we are developing sets. We're thinking about not just the next set, Amber Skies, but the set after that, okay? And so we have to make sure that we deliver both now and in the future. Hello. It's a little boomy here. Maybe my other mic is interfering. So I'll talk to you about a few other things, and we'll have a few things to talk about at the very end here. The first we should talk about is Forgefire development. Do you want to? Hello, hello. Aha, there we go. Perfect. All right, so Forgefire development is an extreme crucial bit of Forgefire because no deck can be born without being emerged through the algorithm. We were able to rebuild the core KeyForge engine in Forgefire. We were able to get it imported. This feedback has just got me set back here. Anyway, we were able to import and check all prior KeyForge cards. Okay, we're talking about thousands of cards that had to be re-imported into the engine and double-checked by hand. We were able to create a localization function. In the past, when I say localization, what I mean is translation into different languages, okay? So in the past, KeyForge was made sort of as a cheat. Part of it was an algorithm, and part of it was done manually inside of a FileMaker, a InDesign software. Okay, now with Forgefire, everything is synthesized and digital. So we had to create a whole new way for people to translate and get those translations into Forgefire itself. Okay, that was quite a bit of work. We had to add advanced functions, such as anomalies. We had to have custom decks and playmats, unchained decks, menagerie, all these things had to be put in there. And of course, we had to do exhaustive testing. Okay, this was a lot of work, and we're so happy to say that now it's behind us. We can do so much more with KeyForge. We'll talk about the Master Vault. Okay, so because we don't want to have a hard game to make, we also want to have a hard game to maintain. We want everybody to have access to the Master Vault, where of course they can register their decks, they can maintain their collection. And so we spent a lot of time moving what had been from the Fantasy Flight Asmodee Master Vault over into our own infrastructure. We had to migrate the data of over 7 million decks from that architecture over to the new architecture. We had to execute account transfers for 250 or 225 plus thousand player accounts. I hope everybody here has an account. If you don't, sign up today. We had to optimize server load, so sometimes you would have gotten very, very slow deck results. Our engineers were able to make that 6 times faster. We implemented enhancements, so you can now see enhancements in the Master Vault. It's all from the magic of Lucas and Francesco and Evan working hard on those, on that data and that Forgefire engine. We're able to build Alliance deck supports into the Master Vault, and we were able to get digital deck ownerships and related transfers, which is going to be something that can allow us to do a lot of very cool things very soon. And of course, we were able to go tournament integration with Playstile. So you guys all today integrated with Playstile in the fact you registered your decks and you ran a tournament that runs inside the software we call Playstile. So for the OP itself, you know, we started off the year, we were very ambitious. I was probably too ambitious last year at this very show, but we still managed to do an awful lot on the OP side. We were able to do 7 vault tours. Okay, thanks for participating in them. Really appreciate your patience, particularly early on as we were, you know, learning our way through. We did 12 national tournaments, and there are several people who are here today because of those tournaments. We did a pre-release weekend event for Winds of Exchange when it released in August and July. We did a first ever KeyForge World Championship. Thank you for coming. And of course, we also did all development we needed to do to launch the Playstyle tournament format. So the 2LO format that you've been playing here is a reflection of a lot of experience for people that have run game tournaments for a very long time. And so we had to develop that basically from scratch, put it into Playstyle, and now it is functioning most of the time. It's still undergoing some testing, obviously. And we have a player and deck registration via Playstyle. So all these things were achieved in the last year. So then the question we can ask ourselves is, what's next? So we've taken a lot of this rubble and furred our way through the mountainside, and we're starting to speed up, and things are going well, but there's a lot of things to do still. So one of the things that I think probably comes up the most, that is, how are we going to support community and retail organized play program? Okay. This is a very important thing to do. So how do you do that? Well, it's easy, right? You just put together some kits, you talk to some retailers, you send them out stuff, and everything is good. Well, not so much. Unfortunately, it's a lot harder than that, and if you want to do it well. And we would love to do it well. So we have to think about what are the prerequisites for a great local OP program. And in my view, a lot of things have to be put into place prior to launching such a program. For example, we need to make sure that retailers that want to participate, they want to know that there's going to be consistent new sets available. And that is not something that they trust us necessarily to do, because KeyForge had some hiccups on that accord. So there's some trust we have to build up in that sense. We have to establish clear distribution lines. Now, we have sold a lot of games before, but as a new company, Ghost Galaxy's first real product was Winds of Exchange. So we had to get that through, clear up all the distribution hurdles. We had to get it distributed internationally. We had to have international partners. We had to make sure the distributors bought enough so the retailers could get enough. You know, these are not necessarily things that happen overnight or that we can take for granted. Then we have to have a line of communication from publisher to retailer. We have to tell retailers what we're doing, invite them to participate. We also have to have a way to set up and inform players about local events. Because if you're going to go ahead and try to have a local event at a retailer, it would be really great if somehow you could tell people about it. Okay, so that's some infrastructure that's some infrastructure that we want to put into place. Okay, and we also have to have, many retailers expect there to be a high-level aspirational tier of tournament service. That is something that we think that we could achieve this year, and so that is why we have been so aggressive on doing vault tours and nationals, and of course trying to do, as best as we could, a really great tournament format. So those are all things that we now think we have cleared away. So one of the key things that's going to happen that helps us with a lot of this stuff is all of the new functions that Playstile is going to be adding. You only know Playstyle right now from the tournaments that you've seen. You will hopefully all have participated and been able to see how you can record your matches on your phone, etc. But Playstyle is actually much more than that, and we've been working hard on getting these functions ready. So the one thing will be retail registration. Allow retailers to register to become an OP site. It'll allow event registration, so either the retailer or trusted community members can then register events on that site. There's going to be a retailer and event finder widget so that that can go on KeyForging, or that anybody can put on a retail site that will then promote those particular events. There will be able to be retail OP kit orders inside Playstyle. Okay? And every event will be able to be integrated directly with a tournament feature. So the very tournament feature that we're using at this event will be in the hands of community organizers and retailers. And they'll be able to hook up to an exact event. That means you'll be able to register decks, you'll be able to create casual tournaments, whatever kind of tournament you want. So all these things had to be in play, we believe, to justify the effort we wanted to make to give local OP support. So for local OP support, what are we going to do exactly? Okay, so these are our current plans. Number one, we're going to have store championships, and the retailer signups will be this December. Okay? So the actual store championship will take place, we believe, in March. Then we're going to have a casual play kit. And that casual play kit will also be available at Q1. This casual play kit will be available to clubs and retailers. Yep. There will be an in-store tournament kit, which will be a small pack that retailers can participate and get to facilitate and organize any kind of organized play they want on a continuing basis. So it's not necessarily a specific event driven, it's just resources that they can get in order to support every week events that are bubbling up from their communities. Two, we're going to have a major storyline event. That's a sort of a secret thing I'm very excited about in Q2 next year. And of course, before every set, the week prior to every set release, we are going to be supporting a pre-release event. We did that with Winds of Exchange, and we're going to continue to do that. So there will be a pre-release kit we're going to generate for every set that's going to be completely focused on retailers and to get everybody in the store the week before the actual event. Did anybody here participate in the pre-release last time? Awesome. So that is the kind of the plans, I think, and the bullet points that I think expresses our answer to the most urgent question that most of the players have is, how do I get support locally? So this is what we're going to do. Okay, and that was my main talking point this evening. I have a few other sort of fun facts for you guys. Number one is that while you guys have all been sitting in here, we've actually been putting out some cool stuff outside those doors, okay? What we've done is that we now know the 8 finalist decks that are going to be in the World Championship, the 4 Alliance decks and the 4 Archons decks. There are posters of those decks put outside. Go study those decks. They're going to be really fun. You guys get to get rid of me really soon, I'm happy to say. The other thing that we're going to have is we have something really grim for you soon. So, it's pretty close to Halloween, I guess. Right after this little presentation, we're going to be doing probably the most fun event of the show, at least the least anxious event, I should say. You're all going to need this ticket right here that came in your bag. Okay? So, here in a minute or two, we're going to turn on the lights. And then you can go down into the HQ here and you can register for the Nightfall event. You're going to need this ticket to get some fun things. Okay? The other thing was that we thought we would take some Q&A tonight, but then realized that we would impinge on time too much. So I would love to take, the whole team, including myself, would love to take questions from you guys and try to answer them to the best of our ability. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. right after the awards ceremony. Okay, so we're going to bring up all the developers, tournament organizers, and myself will be here. We'll be up here, and anybody can ask any questions they want. But I'm not going to keep you from the GRIM event any longer. Thank you for coming. Have fun.